Hello guys. For today's Photoshop starter activity, if you are using Photopea, I will be addressing some issues that you might run into with Photopea in just a little bit. But I'm going to go ahead and talk you guys through how to complete this activity in both Photoshop and Photopea. You'll have to bear with me with Photopea. There's a few discrepancies, but if you look at the instructions, pretty much, and for the most part, they are the same. I did create a document that says PS Starter Activity 1 info for Photopea users about some of the issues, and if I come across any others, I will add them to this document and tell you what you need to do with that. Anyways, let's go ahead and start off with the first step on here, which is we need to save the filters file from Google Classroom, and then you will open it in Photoshop or Photopea. So if you go here, big thing, I always have people who will click on it and they don't have a way to download it. So what you need to do is make sure you right-click it, open link in new tab, and once you do that, then it should show up in another tab, and then you can hit the download button. And you'll need to do that for the coins file too. So once you have both of those and hit download, if you're working with Photoshop, then all you have to do to open the file is click on the file in Chrome. Or you can go to your downloads and double click it, and it should open it up automatically. If you're working in Photopea, you'll need to go to the Photopea link, which I will try to pull up really quick, and you'll need to locate your file. So you'll have to go to File, Open, and then locate where it is in there. I think actually for you guys in Photopea, it's either File Open or, yeah, I think it shows up in File Open. Yeah, File Open, and then we're going to open up Filters, and then you're also going to open up Coins. File Open, locate Coins, and once you do that, we have both Filters and Coins here. For the Photoshop version, let me go ahead and talk you through the first part, which it's just showing you guys how to use the zoom feature. So if you already know how to use it, actually let me get rid of this timeline so you don't have to look at that. If you already know how to use it, there's a few things you can do to zoom in and out. On the toolbar, there's a little magnifying glass, and if you click and drag left, zooms out. If you click and drag right, it zooms in. You can zoom really far in, as much as 12,800%, or you can zoom way out as much as 0.463%. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. You can also change your zoom by going View, Zoom In, or Zoom Out. There is a keyboard shortcut where if you do Control plus, you keep zooming in a level each time you hit plus. And I'm zooming out now by hitting Control minus on my keyboard. So that's how you can zoom in and zoom out. And then if you go to View, you'll see a thing that says Fit on Screen, and this will just make it so it fits everything in your screen. You can also get to that by pressing Control 0. And I'm trying to think of what else. It asks you to do View Print Size. So if you go View Print Size, then it will show you approximately, based on your resolution and monitor size, approximately how big it would be printed out. So if you were to actually hold paper up to it and trace the image, that's basically the same size that it would print. Another thing that I want you guys to do is just take a look while you're on the picture here. You can go down to the bottom left, and you'll see there's a thing here that shows the size in inches and the resolution of the file. And if you click on that, it will show you the width, height, channels. That would be like if you are working with red, green, and blue, it mixes the colors to create all the other colors. If you're working with CMYK, it would be 4 channels. And, just some basic file information in there. It also shows the zoom level to the left of that, which you can type in a specific percent if you like to zoom in and zoom out. So that's that. The next thing that I want you guys to do, we're going to want to make it so you can see the rulers. So if you don't have yours up, you just go to View, Rulers, and bibbidi bobbidi boo, there it is. And if you go to View, and then go down to New Guide, you can actually create little guides, like if you needed a line to, see if something aligns a certain way, or if you want to make it so that there are 2 guides that intersect in a certain spot, so you know to move an object there or to crop a certain place. That's what the guides are all about. So it says in the directions, you can choose vertical or horizontal. We want to choose horizontal for the first one. And then when you click OK, this blue line appears. Now, in order to move this blue line, you have to use the Move button. So you have to make sure this is selected here, and then you should be able to drag it around. So if you want to have your guide line up with, like, say, this green crayon down here, you could do that. You can drag it anywhere up and down. You can also get to a guide. You can create a new guide by clicking in the ruler and dragging it out, just like that. So you can do it that way as well. Now, the next thing that it has you doing, though, is after we have the rulers up, if you don't already have them up, go to View, View Rulers. If you right-click on the actual ruler itself, you'll see the different units of measure that you can use. So mine says inches right now. If I click on pixels, then I can see my size in pixels. You'll also notice down here it changes the unit. So the next thing it says is, okay, so we need pixels. It says drag the guide to the 300 pixel mark. So this one should be about here. So it's almost centered, I guess. And then create a vertical guide, which if you already did, then you can just drag it. If you didn't, just go to either drag one out from there or go View, New Guide, and then just drag that to around 225, give or take. It might not necessarily be perfect, but that's how you do it. And then once you have done that, if you go to View, Clear Guides, you can get rid of your guides there. And so this last part, it wants us to create guides that would help you to work with the rule of thirds. Rule of thirds is essentially where certain focal points line up with either the lines, the guidelines that you're going to create, or with the intersecting points. And the way it works is you're creating basically a tic-tac-toe board. So I'm just going to estimate it to show you, but you want to have your image divided into 9 sections by creating this tic-tac-toe board. And if you're working with Photopea, you're going to have trouble with this. You're not going to be able to do the rule of thirds, unfortunately. But as you can see, I have this up here. So if I were to put something I want people to focus on, or I want to, basically create a focal point or put a focal point in a visually interesting spot, I'd want that focal point to intersect with one of these points where these 2 lines meet, or I would want to have it aligned with that. So if there was a crayon that I could align with one of these lines, either vertical or horizontal, supposedly that would make your image more visually interesting. So that's that. When you're done with this, you just need to go to File, Save As, and save to your computer, put it in your documents, and call it My Filters. And then click Save. And then you'll end up turning that in later. Now, if you're working in Photopea, the same task, if you go in, I've already started this, you can go in and drag a guide out that way, but when you're going to view, if you go to View, Add Guides, it's only going to add two guides. So you could type in numbers to get the things that you need. So if I go in here, what was it? I think one of them was supposed to be 300. That's supposed to be a vertical, or no, this is horizontal. 300 for horizontal, and 225 for a vertical. Automatically pops those in there. And if I did clear guides, I could just go to View, Clear Guides. But if you go ahead and go to where it says, what was the next step? To create the rule of thirds. If we tried to do it from View, Add Guides, and I just tried to type in another number, I don't know, 100 and 200. It's not going to create those guides. It's just going to move the ones we had. So what you have to do instead is just drag a new one out. And if you're having trouble with this for whatever reason and it's not letting you do more than two guides, just do two guides and just make them crisscross. But otherwise, if you can do 4 guides like you normally would be able to, then create the tic-tac-toe board and go to File, Save as PSD, and then you can turn that in. You don't have to do you don't have to change the name. I know my people who are using Photoshop, there's an instruction that says save it as whatever. In this case, you're just going to save it as filters. So that's how you do that. The next one we are going to go into, I'm going to go back into Photoshop and I'm going to open up the coins file. So if I go to File, File Open, I think I had it in my downloads like you guys would. And there's the coins. And what we're going to do here is we're going to zoom in on one of the coins. By the way, you can use the space bar to move your whole canvas around. So if you're zoomed in and you need to move the whole canvas, if you hold down the space bar while you're dragging, it'll let you do that. So I'm going to choose this coin here, and I need to use the elliptical marquee tool, which is the circular shaped one up here. So if you have the rectangular one, just hold down your mouse until you see this and choose the circular one. And then if you click somewhere like around here, if you're working with this coin, one way to do this too is if you use guides. So that's kind of helpful that we just did that other activity. But if you click where these two guides are intersecting, if they're tangent to the edges of the coin, and then hold down Shift while you do that, while you're dragging, you can make a perfect circle to go around this coin. So now I have that selected, and if I go into the next step, it says click Select Inverse. So if I go Select Inverse, now everything you do with the selection tools you can do under the Select menu. So if I go Select Inverse now, everything else is selected but what's in this circle, in this coin area. So now I'm going to go, I went Select Inverse, now I'm going to go Filter, Blur, Motion Blur. So Filter, Blur, motion blur. And you can click on the preview thing here if it's not checked, and you can actually see a preview of what this effect does. But because we selected everything but that one coin, we are able to apply that effect to just that area. You can also change the angle of it, and you can just kind of play around with it. When you're done with it, click OK. And the next thing we're going to do is we are going to go to Image, Adjustments, and Curves. And if you go in there, you can adjust this line in here. You can kind of see what happens when you drag certain points in and out. Kind of changes the colors of everything. So just kind of play around with that. Try some of the different settings. You can make it so it's more blue instead of red. You can change the green to make it really green. And if you go into blue, you can just kind of play around with some of the things on there. Just see what happens. And once you do that, click OK. And this next step, I'm going to zoom out so you can see what happened there. This next step, we are going to go back to where we were at the beginning. So if you go to File, Revert, that will let you get back to your original file there. And just try it out again, see how you do. It doesn't, you don't have to do it too much. But once you've done it once or twice and tried some different things with that, then go ahead and go to File, Save As, save on your computer. Choose Documents, and then call it My Coins and hit Save. And then you're done. If you're working in Photopea, then it's pretty similar. I'm just going to kind of show you really quick. I'm dragging some guides out to help me create my circle. I'm going up to the rectangular marquee tool and choosing Ellipse Select. And when I do that, now if I Ellipse Select, there we go. Now if I go to those intersecting points and hold down Shift while I'm dragging, then I can select that coin there. So I selected it, and it was Filter, Blur, Motion Blur. And, oh, whoops, I forgot. We were supposed to do Select Inverse. Select Inverse, and then go to Filter, Blur, Motion Blur. And you can adjust that slider, you can change the angle, click OK. And then the other part was Image, Adjustment, Curves. And you can play around with the different settings on that. So once you click OK, and you've done this, you kind of gotten used to working with this stuff, then just go to File, Save As PSD, and it should go back in your downloads with the little 1 in parentheses probably, or copy or something like that. And once you've done that, you're all done. So you just go back into Classroom and turn in both the files. And that's it. Once you finish this, go ahead and continue working on geometrics. Or if you're one of my people who is just starting MSI this term, go ahead and work on MSI. But make sure you turn both these files in before the end of class, because this is due today. All right. See you guys later.